Well, hi there. Welcome to Spoiler Alert. In this week's show, we will discuss
The Cinema, one of the most infamous 90s mascots, and finally, our most hyped video games of 2018.
But first, Earth's mightiest heroes embark on a new adventure with supersized set pieces, sharp one-liners, and surprising deaths. And these guys have been to see it. So boys, what do you think?
I personally think it is quite possibly the best film of the decade, if not ever. It will trump even my favourite film of my childhood and my adult life, which is The Dark Crystal, and that's taken a while to dethrone that. But
So this is the best film of the decade.
Infinity War is 10 years of Marvel coming together in one perfect thing, and they weren't scared to do the one thing no one would thought they would be able to.
I feel like it's a film for Marvel fans. I feel like if you're just an average film fan or Marvel fan, I would say it's not going to please you as much. But if you've been following it for the last 10 years, the last 18 films,
Which you two have.
yeah, it really is something special. I would use words like spectacular, groundbreaking, and shocking.
So it does live up to the expectations.
It lives up to the expectations and more, I would argue. I went into the film with very high expectations. The last time I had expectations as high were for Fallout 4, and whereas Fallout 4 dropped the ball and ruined my expectations, Avengers Infinity War took them and raised them up 5 or 6 pegs.
Is there anything that happened that you didn't expect?
I honestly didn't expect the beginning with Loki's death.
Okay, so there was a surprising death and you didn't expect it.
No, and I feel like that kind of needed to happen to show you how evil Thanos was. I feel like we've had a lot of Marvel villains that haven't really lived up to the hype, and I feel like Thanos in the first 5 minutes to do what he did like that really set the bar for the rest of the film.
I genuinely think what Marvel has hit the marks perfectly with how he is in the comics is Thanos genuinely believes he is the good guy. He genuinely believes the things he is doing are correct, and they do that so perfectly because there are 5 or 6 points in the movie where I sat back and went, he's got a point. And what he's doing is evil, but he is right. In his own twisted way, Thanos is correct, but the way he does it is
And the best part about that is the fact that because you've had 18 films, all these characters have had their backstories, they've had their setups, whereas this film is pretty much Thanos' backstory. This is his story, whereas other films like DC, for example, Justice League sets up Flash and Aquaman and Cyborg in the first hour. In Avengers, it's all Thanos, and you know it.
So where do you think this Marvel universe will go in the next film, in the following year?
Well, now with the acquisition of Fox, looking up a few bits, there are rumours Galactus could come in, which will be... Galactus is nearly as powerful as Thanos, if not a bit more. You've then got God Emperor Doom, who can come in from the Fantastic Four franchise. There's quite a few villains come in, but also heroes, and heroes have become villains and vice versa. People forget Doctor Doom actually becomes a hero in the latest comics.
Well, thank you very much, boys. Thank you. Now, visiting the cinema is one of the most exciting treats for any film fanatic. The world you're about to be submerged in, all ruined by a group of irritating people rustling crisp packets and shouting at the top of their voices because the character just said a naughty word.
This is a problem that has affected moviegoers since the beginning of time. Most of us tend to try to ignore it, but sometimes it's just too annoying. With the evolution of online streaming services such as Netflix and Amazon Prime Video, many people have decided to trade in the big screen for the much more comfortable surroundings of their cosy living room.
We think this is a real shame, as along with soaring ticket prices, it has sent many independent cinemas out of business, and we've decided to get to the root of this problem.
To do this, I decided to send these guys to the cinema to experience it firsthand.
The cinema, a quiet place for everyone to watch a film in the company of people that we don't know. Whenever you watch a film in the cinema, you expect it to be a silent haven, where you can lose yourself in a story, leading you to forget about the miseries of socializing and your life in general. Imagine this. You're clutching your ticket with excitement. You walk into the theatre, waiting to see the film, and you mouth to yourself, "Oh my god, I think I might have left the stove on." Then that person comes walking in, crunching on a massive carrot, as well as always being on their phone, distracting everybody from watching the film. So the next time you're in a cinema with an annoying cinema goer, throw your bag of sweets that you clearly smuggled in from the nearest corner shop in their direction and hope it hits them. If that doesn't work, you can always punch them in the nose. Then you can finally enjoy the film. And with that, back to the studio.
So there we go. Let's turn our attention to TV now, and I'm sure everybody here has heard of the hit US Game of Thrones.
Woo!
With their penultimate series just finishing, we decided to talk about this pop culture phenomenon.
I think Game of Thrones is, as we've seen with the 7 seasons previously, I feel like it started off small, and now at the end of season 7, I feel like you are starting to get to film budget levels in terms of how much these sets are costing. And honestly, I feel like from the very start, I think you could see good actors. You had Mark Addy in it. You've had obviously.
There's a lot of famous faces.
There's a lot of famous faces, and I feel like that's been. I mean, TV series have obviously had that in the past, but I feel like with improvement of budget and technology and all that, I feel like it's telling a story over the course of a length of time, and I feel that as time's gone on, it's starting to get into film level in terms of quality.
It is about the story, isn't it? The character relationships, how they all build it up through these 7 or so series.
I personally think Game of Thrones, not just the TV show, the books, it's the best form of storytelling, and I believe it's started to come into the mainstream now. If people aren't scared to kill off big characters anymore.
It needs to happen, doesn't it?
Exactly, and like for my own films and for my own ideas, I follow those rules quite dearly, because if you have these select characters who are seemingly immortal, like Superman walking around and everyone's just dying around them, Superman's like, oh, I'm fine, mate, I'm going to like up. Like, that, it brings you out of it.
Yeah,
and I like this
understand.
new era of everyone is vulnerable.
Yeah, and it needs to be like that for the drama, the conflict, and just not knowing what is going to happen next. It's the unknown, isn't it? It's the unknown.
Yeah, and I feel like with Game of Thrones has kind of set the bar in terms of the way you tell a story and the way that you keep an audience interested with, you know, cliffhangers and the fact that it's not afraid to kill off main characters and you killed off so many in the first season. The first 10 episodes, the first scene you were like, wow, you didn't expect it. And,
Exactly.
And that's what you want films to do. Avengers, of course, example, and TV series, you want that excitement of, wow, I didn't expect that.
That everlasting excitement.
And I
that
feel
will
like
last.
Game of Thrones does that. I think if you go back to a couple like Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, they do it, but they don't, you kind of expect it.
Yeah.
Walking Dead forces it now, like with Carl dying recently, that was so forced. And in the comics, he dies a lot later. I'm a massive fan of comics, massive fan of the Telltale games, but that show is just dreadful. And whereas Game of Thrones will foreshadow someone dying, Littlefinger's death was foreshadowed, and that was, Sansa Stark in that. I want her to be the Queen of Westeros.
So you think she will rule Westeros at the end? How about you, Luke? Who do you think will win the Game of Thrones?
I feel like Samuel Tarly. I feel like you don't hear much of him in the 7th season. He's in that library, he's studying. He killed a White Walker. He's one of the only ones to do it apart from Jon Snow, and I feel like he could be a dark horse. I really do.
Lovely, thank you. Well, in the 80s, the platforming genre was hugely popular with developers and gamers due to their low costs and simplicity. The following decade spawned a huge number of successful platforming series such as Mario, Sonic, Kirby and Mega Man, but we are forgetting one, Bubsy.
Bubsy. Oh, Bubsy. Probably the biggest and most notorious video game mascot of all time for all the wrong reasons. Bubsy was created by Accolade Entertainment in 1993 and was made to rival the likes of Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario. He first appeared in a 2D SNES and Genesis game titled Bubsy Claws Encounters of the Third Kind. Now that title alone shows that we're clearly in safe hands. Bubsy 1 follows his quest to, well, I honestly don't really know. It's never really explained, or if it is, I may have given up before actually finding out. And right off the bat, this game is a headache. Bubsy runs across the screen faster than Usain Bolt, and it's so hard to stop him. It's kind of like you're riding a motorcycle when you're moving him, but when you go to brake, you realise there's butter all over the brake pads. Even jumping doesn't help too much. While it does slightly slow you down, you do fly into whatever's in front of you. On the subject of jumping, oh boy, Bubsy's jumping is very weird. To the point where if you jump on your own, you jump higher than the Empire State, but if you jump on something else, that's it, you're on bloody Mars. For one-ups, you collect Bubsy's shirt, and these black shirts floating around the level do, I honestly have no idea. I no longer care for the Johnny McJohnson's Funny Farms Incorporated. Nothing is ever explained in this game, which really hurts you as the player. You regularly pick things up and have to guess what they do, which leads to multiple deaths or near misses where I get this rage cloud. Also, he talks, kill it now.
What could possibly go wrong?
Bubsy 2, which was released in 1994, was more of the same. Again, fast running, too high jumping,
Bubsy talks!
and nothing is ever explained. This time, we're in a temple, then fighting space balls? Oh god, I am not enjoying this one bit. So I'm not going to talk too much about Bubsy 2, as I've just said, it is more of the same. So let's cast our minds back to just before Bubsy 2 and just after the first game. They made a cartoon. Like the game, the cartoon is a headache. Who are even half the characters you see in this? I thought it was just Bubsy. Now you've got all these characters we know nothing about on the screen. And somehow Bubsy's voice is worse than the game's. How?
Coming! Uncle Bubsy! Where's Arnold? Under the couch. I couldn't resist. Arnold!
No! It's honestly just one big headache, and honestly, I give up. I've had enough. So, I finally get to talk about the Holy Grail of the PS1. Roughly 3 months after the release of Crash Bandicoot in 1996, Accolade spawned onto the world Bubsy 3D. So, I finally get to talk about Bubsy 3D. How long I've been putting this off, but now I have no choice. Cheers, producer. Seeing as many other games were making the jump to 3D, it seemed fitting that Bubsy did, right? Most franchises were making graceful jumps and made games that changed the gaming industry forever.
And then there was Bubsy.
And I think you'll all be glad to know that this time the story is actually explained. Very badly. Right off the bat, I have so many questions. Why did the textures look unfinished? How does Bubsy look worse in 3D than he did in 2D? What's with the floating blocks in space? Why does the level feel so restricted? And who let Bubsy talk again?
Wow, you wanna be a video game star. But make it stop!
This game controls horribly. Instead of going too fast, this time Bubsy goes too slow and he's too heavy. Tank controls never really work in platformers. The controls sort of remind me of Croc or Tomb Raider, but those games are built around the control scheme and are meant for slow-paced adventure, especially Tomb Raider. Bubsy, on the other hand, is a fast-paced 3D platformer with controls too slow and too stiff to respond in time that you end up dying a lot. Bubsy still also drives when he moves, and the buzzer seems to have not been spared this time, and the music, oh my god, the indescribable anguish that is the music. It never really seems any different level to level, and one feature that I'm not too sure if I like it or loathe it is that when you get near to an enemy, the music will start to introduce this sound.
See that thing in front of you?
It's just so intrusive though. Honestly, I can't tell what it sounds like. Is it a frog getting squeezed? Is it arm farting? What the hell is it? I can't play this game anymore. Honest to God, it's dreadful. What was going through the heads of Sony when they officially licensed this game? Bubsy made a reappearance in 2017. The Woody Strike Back was released on PS4 to very lukewarm reception. It went back to the 2D style of Bubsy games and fixed a lot of the problems with them. But it's nothing to write home about, and it's very, very short. So, that's my fault on the Bubsy games. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go book some therapy. Back to you in the studio. Doctor, I played Bubsy!
2018 is looking to be an exciting year for all aspects in the media industry, especially for you gamers out there. So, boys, what are we most excited for this year?
The possible announcement of Elder Scrolls 6. There's been multiple leaks about Bethesda's new IP Starfield, which was copyrighted a few years ago.
Yep.
However, recently Pete Hines tweeted directly from the Elder Scrolls account "Happy Birthday to Morrowind," which, for those of you who don't know, came out in 2002. And well, no, it's 2002, 2003. It was heralded as amazing for its time. Then Oblivion and obviously Skyrim. And fans like me are desperate for their Elder Scrolls fix. It's been 6 years. We need another Elder Scrolls.
So one here's excited for Elder Scrolls. How about you, Luke? What are you excited for?
I feel like Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
The end of the year in October. I feel like that is the pinnacle of gaming. I feel like Rockstar always seem to get it right. I think GTA 5 was phenomenal, wasn't it? How much it made. And I feel like Red Dead Redemption is going to break more records. And I feel like Call of Duty bringing their game out in October tells you everything you need to know about how much they know, how much they rival Red Dead Redemption and Rockstar, because they know it's the pinnacle of gaming.
But Call of Duty, where is Call of Duty going? Because it comes out every year, and
World War II was good, but it got very boring quite quickly. I feel like a lot of modern day Call of Duty gamers like they have like fast paced, unpredictability, the space element of it with the jumping. They like the fact it's futuristic. And I think with Black Ops 4, I feel it will sell well because Black Ops 3 was a massive big seller.
I feel like the Call of Duty franchise and the Battlefield franchise have gone steadily downhill from their inception. The first-person shooter genre is, in my eyes, is dominated by Call of Duty and Battlefield, but is surpassed easily by Far Cry because it has a story and the gunplay is so much nicer. In the new Far Cry 4, you feel like you're there when there's rounds flying past you, and it's so realistic from sound and graphics.
And I feel
can you compare Far Cry to the likes of Call of Duty
No.
and Battlefield?
I
Are
think
they two different games?
I don't think so. No.
I think you can quite easily. They are very different games, but you've got to look at Ubisoft has learnt from the mistakes of the other publishers. Activision, Blizzard, EA, all those companies like that are just cash grabs. And they are horrible, vindictive companies. EA messed up Battlefront, and that was a classic game, and they've destroyed that. Whereas Ubisoft has saved the Far Cry franchise.
I feel like with the improvement and introduction of Fortnite, how much better it's got in the last couple of months, I feel like that is the future. I feel like when you play Call of Duty online, you shoot someone, you level up. I feel with Fortnite, to go and get weapons in a game and having to build, to really mastermind winning, it feels like more of an accomplishment when you win a game of Fortnite when you win a team deathmatch on Call of Duty.
It's the new thing, isn't it?
It really is.
It's survival. It's all about survival.
Fortnite has taken the MMO concept of like the Old Republic, Elder Scrolls Online, all of that, and just put it on steroids, really, isn't it? And you get a lot more reward for your progression, new skins. It's like CS:GO.
And it's cheaper.
Decent.
I mean, you get the battle pass.
£8. £8 for 2 or 3 months.
Well, we'll have to wait until all those exciting games coming up. And there we go, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Good night.